Hi, I'm Kevin Wan. I'm the contractor CFO and COO, and in today's video, we're going to go over how to set up job costing in QuickBooks for your construction company. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, I've been using QuickBooks since 2019, so obviously I know what I'm doing, right? And I'm QuickBooks certified, which means I'm really good at guessing on that multiple choice test. But in all seriousness, I have been using it. I've done a lot of in-depth cleanup projects on it. I'm fairly familiar with a lot of different aspects of QuickBooks Online. So I will show you how to get job costing set up in QuickBooks, but I'll also discuss some limitations with it. And then I'll share my screen and just show you step by step how to do it. So let's get on with it. We're going to get into a couple prerequisites here. First, you got to make sure you have the right subscription level. All right, so I'll show you how to check your subscription level and how to upgrade. You got to have plus or higher in order for this to work. And you got to enable the feature under settings, which I'll show you right now. But most importantly, you have to actually commit to tracking your revenue and cost by project. Otherwise, there's no sense in setting this up in the first place. So I'm going to go over here to a sample company that we have pulled up. To check your subscription level, you got to hit that gear icon and hit subscriptions. Now, in this case, it's not going to show me anything because it's a sample company that QuickBooks gives us to play around with. So, but you would see your current subscription level and an option to upgrade to the next one. So you got to get plus or higher. Then once you upgrade, it doesn't automatically turn on all the features. You have to actually go into a menu here and choose which features you want to actually enable within QuickBooks. So you'd go to Account and Settings, and then you have to go down here to Advanced and scroll down. And in this case, since it's already set up, it's on. You have to go to Projects. They don't call it job costing, they just call it projects. All right, so if it was off, you would have to click this edit, the edit button here, and then turn it on. Another couple things that come with plus and higher is the ability to track by classes. So if you're doing commercial jobs and residential and you kind of want to start tracking revenue and expenses between those two different categories, you can. You do that with classes. You'd have to turn it on and then actually add classes. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I am showing you there are other features. Also track locations, slightly different functionality than classes, but that's available as well in the plus or higher. So once we've done that, you would click done, but in this case, I'm just going to X out of it here. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do next here. So let me get back to step two on actually how to do the job costing. So we turn on the feature I just showed you, and then you got to create your projects or sub-clients. All right, I'll show you that. And then you have to actually make sure your expenses are tied to the right projects and split vendor bills if necessary. So let me go over those real quick in here. So when you turn on projects, you'll have this whole other tab on this left-hand menu just called projects. All right, this is showing that we haven't set anything up yet. It has this thing, but it takes you to here. We can just do test. Uh, whoop. We'll do test project. And then we'll just say it's for Amy's Bird Sanctuary. Sure. Start date. We'll just do a quick date of today. That's pretty much all you need for now. And then I'm going to show you how, once you're in here, it looks a little different. So I'm going to show you if you were to just come into projects, I'll just click this again. It'll load this up. And then if you want to, you literally just click new project. I'll just do a test project. Whoop. A test project two. We'll pick, we will say it's for Bill's windsurf shop and save. So now we have two different projects. We go back to all projects here. You'll see both of them here. You'll also see them in a different spot. So if you're used to QuickBooks and being in the customer center, you go to sales and go to customers here. The projects will actually show up, or that maybe, no, maybe they don't show up here, but let's go into Amy's Bird Sanctuary. Um, oh, you know what? No, is we haven't created any expenses yet for it. But so let's do this. Let's go back to projects. You have to actually add, let's go to Amy's Bird Sanctuary project here. We're going to add an expense. So we can go here, add expenses. Let's say that we went out and bought something from Hicks Hardware. Ooh. All right, and we paid it from our checking today. Uh, just say it doesn't matter. Just say cash, even though we would have used our debit card. It's already pre-populated here with something saying, yeah, we bought some sprinklers. We can add a description. We can say we spent $215.66. The key thing here is that the project is selected, and just hit save and close, and it will show up right there as costs, right there. But the other place you could see expenses is if you're just, or another way to add expenses to a project is if you're just already in your vendor center and you're gonna, maybe you got a bill from Hicks Hardware, as he just lets you buy stuff throughout the month and sends you an invoice for everything you got at the end, like a supplier would. Then you can come in, well, you can see that expense from today is already populated here, but you could just say new transaction, and you're just going to enter a bill that you just got from him, and you could enter everything in and make sure that the project is selected right here is test project. You can also see the other project we created there. So that's basically how you do it. Um, Oh, if you're, yes, and let me explain this too. If sometimes you might get a consolidated invoice or bill from a supplier that you've been buying stuff, all week or all month from, and they'll just send you a consolidated bill at the end of the month, and maybe you bought stuff for a couple different projects. So in this case, let's just say that we got something, oh, that's the expense category that we'll just say supplies, um, yeah, from Hicks Hardware, sprinklers or whatever. Um, oh, you know what? Because there's item detail down here if you're keeping track of the actual parts you have on hand. Um, but I'm just gonna say 215, 215.66, and of course I used the hotkey there to change it. Um, but yeah, we'll say that was for Amy's Bird Sanctuary. Then say you had some other supplies that you bought. Maybe you bought a drip system. Maybe that was 300. And maybe that was for your other test project. So you can have a consolidated bill and add expenses to different projects all at the same time. I'm just going to close out of this, not going to save it. All right, then let me get back to what else we're going to cover real quick. So some limitations to it. All right. So for payroll, in order to get the payroll to use the job costing, you're gonna have to use QuickBooks Payroll and their T sheets or QuickBooks Time, whatever they're calling it now, in order to track hours by project. And the unfortunate thing is that piece rate isn't supported. So if you're in a specialty trade and you're doing a lot of paying a lot of people on a piece rate basis, and you're having to run that through payroll, it's just not supported. I got a client facing that right now, a lot of hourly employees, some piece rate, and it's a mess and it doesn't work. And we have to actually do some manual input to get all the information into the projects. The other thing is that you must generate invoices from within QuickBooks Online as well. So when you generate an invoice, you can tie it directly to a project. There'll be a column on the right-hand side within the invoice, and you select which project it's for. And that's important because that's how the revenue gets tracked per project. If you're using an outside software for estimating and then generating the invoices and collecting payment, like I have a client doing, the software may feed in the invoice data and create invoices within QuickBooks, but it's likely not going to go that extra step of adding the project to it. So if you have an outside software, you may have to actually manually go in once the invoice shows up in QuickBooks and click on it and add the project directly to it. So what I'm saying is you basically, if the easiest way to make job costing work within QuickBooks is using their QuickBooks payroll and using the invoice, generating invoices and or estimates and invoices in QuickBooks Online itself to have it all within the same software. Otherwise, if you start having to piece things together, it becomes a little bit more work to get all the software to communicate with each other, and you may have to figure out some sort of manual processes as well, like I have with my clients. So anyways, I hope this is helpful. How to get more help though, you can work with me for free for 30 days. Just click on the link in the description below and get back to work.